Hello, adventurers. Pleasure to meet you. Am I just using today's filming as an excuse to dress up? Yes, apparently. I'm still wearing my makeup from my Loki video, but I am dressed, kind of, as one of my characters now. Also, this hat is too small, so I'm not going to keep wearing it. Today we're back for another work in progress tag. I just need to do these every now and then because I keep writing more books. I never actually thought I was going to end up doing this tag for this particular book. We'll talk a little bit more about the genesis of this book as we go, but I honestly never even expected it to get past chapter 3, and now I'm on track to finish it soon. So, oops. I did it again. I wrote another book. We're gonna use my tablet here, and this is Guilty Spark. I actually do the majority of my writing now on Guilty Spark. I take him to work with me and I write on my lunch break, which is where I've written the majority of this book. So the first question is, what is the title of this book? Right now it is going by the title of Adventurer Mage, which some people have told me is a stupid title, but those people haven't read the story, so I think it actually makes sense if you read the story, but that might not be the permanent title, who knows, but it's the title right now. The next question is, where did the idea come from? We'll cover that a little bit more in depth as there's a question later about what was the inspiration. But the idea for this book, I was feeling stressed out because I was trying to get through edits for Dragonfly, which is the next in the Nine Kingdoms series, which I'm going to hopefully be publishing either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So I was deep in the weeds of editing, and I hate editing, and writing is usually what makes me feel good, makes me feel happy, but editing doesn't. And I didn't have anything going that was making me feel happy. But I had had this idea in the back of my mind for a while, and I thought, I'll just write a few chapters, however much makes me feel happy, just to offset the editing blues. So I started it not thinking that it was going to get anywhere, and then all of a sudden here we are, because it just kept making me happy. The next question is, what genre does it fall under? That would be fantasy adventure. Adventure fantasy? I don't know. It's definitely a fantasy. A fantasy Victorian England, Wales kind of area. There is magic, and the society has developed alongside of this magic, so it's different in a lot of ways than we would think of like normal Victorian era stuff going on. But I do want to go back in and when I edit it and put in more Victorian-y things. The next question is, what actors would play the characters in the movie adaptation? Well, that's tough, because one of the two lead characters is 1000,000,000% visually and in many of the ways that he acts based off of Michael Sheen's character in the terrible movie Curse of the Midas Box. We'll get on to more of that later. And so it would be easy for me to say, well, Michael Sheen should play the character of Valentine, except he's a little bit too old now to play the character of Valentine. Nothing against Michael Sheen, it's just that, I don't know if you noticed this, but humans do age. If there was a way that I could convince Michael Sheen to read the audiobook, I could legitimately die happy. You have no idea how much I want him to read the audiobook. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know who I'd have to bribe. How many people would I have to kill? Michael Sheen, please, please, please read the audiobook. As for the other lead character of Maeve, I don't really have anyone else in mind. This is a picture that is her. Like, this is her face. But I don't have an actor in mind that would play Maeve. Somebody with a slight build, brown hair, and freckles. Yeah, I always drop tablets. I don't know, they feel so delicate to me. I keep dropping him. That's why I usually keep his keyboard attached. What is a one-sentence synopsis of your book? Okay, this part is always challenging. While working as an unwilling servant in a mage household, Maeve encounters an injured mage who takes her away from that on an amazing adventure of danger and personal growth. How's that? The next question is, how long did it take you to write the first draft? Well, it's not finished yet, the first draft, but I posted the first chapter on Wattpad because I've been putting this out on Wattpad in May, late May. So I am flying through this bad boy. I know there are still people who draft faster than me, but for me this is fast. The next question, question 8, is what other books would you compare your book to? I really am so bad at comps. I have no idea what I would compare it to. I guess a little bit like Witchmark, if you've read that one. Kind of the same vibe of like magical English. Although I deal a lot more with the countryside than cities really at all, so The next question is the one we're gonna have fun with. Who or what inspired you to write this book? Okay, so there's a movie, Curse of the Midas Box, that my friend and I watched because we like to watch terrible movies together, but Michael Sheen in it is a treasure. He's amazing. I love him. And I wanted to do something with his character. At first I thought maybe it was just going to be a fan fiction, but then I was like, no, we're going to make it our own thing. Just the main character is going to be based heavily off of his character in that. Or at least a jumping off point for the character of Valentine, because he does grow sort of beyond that within the story. But the inspiration, literally, for the first scene was this scene in the movie.
On here.
Steady there, man.
Will, what happened?
He's found it. He's found the map.
But in my brain, I went, what if that happened, but there was somebody else in the room watching this guy get brought in? And then later, this guy and that somebody else had an interaction, and they just went from there. That is possibly the weirdest inspiration I've ever had, but many of my inspirations do come from what-if questions. So it's not completely random. And question 10, what else about your book might pique a reader's interest? So many things, at least I hope so. Like I said, the first draft is up on Wattpad. I have been putting it out every week. So if you're interested in reading it, you can do that right now in its like rough form, first form. Things that might interest you is that it is a platonic soulmate story, so it focuses on a very deep friendship between the two lead characters of Maeve and Valentine, and you watch that friendship form. And so if you like that sort of found family, that sort of deep friendship, this is definitely going to be a book that entices you. A little bit of inspiration for this book also came out of a frustration with stories that promise me a bromance or a found family, and then that's not really as much of a focus of the book as I would like. And I was like, you know what, this book is going to just mostly be about two very lonely people who come together and learn, like, literally like the power of friendship. I'm not even gonna pretend that that's not what it is. Now there is action and adventure and danger aplenty. They almost die so many times. But the main focus of the story is these two and their friendship. So if you like adventure and you really want to get in deep with a couple of characters that have to grow as just absolutely platonic soulmates, then this book might be for you. There's also, though, a whole new magic system. Those of you familiar with my work might know that I don't lean heavily into magic systems, even though I like them. And this book gave me the opportunity to develop a whole new magic system. Why are all the noisy cars going on outside my house right now while I'm trying to film? Is pretty much unlike any other magic system I've developed before for books that never saw the light of day. So I also think that that might be really enticing to people. This magic system is very different, and I don't think it's quite like anything that I've at least read before. The way that this world has developed is greatly influenced by this magic system. There's a lot of prejudice because of the different types of magic and who can do what. Also, is it very slightly an allegory for queerness and some gatekeeping within the queer community? I'm not saying it's that, but it's not hitting that super heavy. You can find it if you look. And the piece de resistance that might entice some people and put some people off completely, there is no romance in this book. None. You never have to worry that the two main characters are gonna smooch. They're not. You have no idea how freeing that feels as an asexual author myself, to not feel like I'm forced and tied into having to make a romance. Because this book mostly started out for me as like bookish therapy, it was just so wonderful to realize that I did not have to do a romance if I didn't want to. Now, do I understand that that might make this book essentially unmarketable? Possibly. I'd still like to try, but I am aware of that. However, I do hope that you will give this book a try, even knowing that it's not going to be a romance, because the relationship is still just so wonderful, and I love both of my little chaos babies. And both of them are slightly morally gray people. So there's that. If you like slightly morally gray characters, also there's that. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm talking too much. That is it for the work in progress tag for Adventurer Mage. The tag I never thought I would make because I never thought I would finish it. And yet, it just keeps drawing me on. I think I might cry when I finish it because it's just such good therapy for me, this book. And like I said, you can read it right the fuck now. If you want to know what I would write all the time if marketing didn't matter, if trends didn't matter, Adventurer Mage, 100% would write that all the time. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm actually getting really hot in this costume, so I'm gonna go take it off now. But if you would like to help me publish my books, you can support me over on Patreon. Books that you can help support are The Wolf and the Hawk, my fantasy romance that's available now on Amazon, and the sequel to which will be coming out hopefully this year, maybe the beginning of next year. That's the goal. That one does have romance in it. But there's also still stabbing, so that's fun. You can follow me on all of my social media, links in the doobly-doo, including to my Wattpad. You know what to doobly-doo. Feel free to wander the channel. I have tons and tons of videos here about writing, about books, so go check them out. And I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... Oh hey, I've been working out my muscles because I have got a lot of patrons to read, and it's gonna take me all my energy. Let's go! We've got Steve, Puppet Master, Rainfall, Kit, Hidden Glade, Persephone, Light Julie, OS, Anna, Belle, Patrick, Anne Sophie, Callison, Ray, Artemis, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Irene, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, Sarah, and Lennox. Whew! That was a workout, but I made it through. And you can bet that you have never heard of a better group of patrons in your entire life. You haven't. You just haven't. It's impossible. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.